Hi, I'm Crystal Loop,
I'm Reagan Estes.
and today we'll be talking about anger management. So, what is anger? Anger is an emotion, and it's an emotion that we all have. And emotions are not right or wrong. However, the way that we deal with emotions can sometimes be problematic. There are times when we may deal with our emotions in positive, healthy ways, and there are other times where we run the risk of harming ourselves and other people. So, today, what we'll be talking about is the importance of recognizing our own anger as well as learning healthy ways to deal with it.
Yeah. So, different things set people off in different ways. Something that really gets under my skin and makes me really frustrated might not be a big deal to Crystal, and vice versa. So, it's really important to kind of recognize that about yourself to be able to kind of plan a better reaction than just getting really mad and punching a hole in a wall or something like that, but not even to recognize yourself but also the people around you, because we don't want, if we know that something makes someone really really mad, we probably don't need to do that. Or there's probably an alternate plan that could be a little bit more helpful for both people. So it's just really important to kind of keep that in mind, that just because something really upsets you doesn't mean it really upsets someone else, and vice versa.
So, we can talk about some ways that we can notice the anger in ourselves, and these are some symptoms of anger. So, you might recognize if you have a rapid heartbeat or your stomach is upset, muscle tightness, even just irritability and screaming more, yelling, feeling a little bit more on edge. These are all symptoms of anger within ourselves. And like Reagan said, we can notice these things, and we can also sometimes help others to notice these same symptoms that they may be facing. And these symptoms may be physical, or they can be, just mental, emotional, even difficulty concentrating or memory impairment can be attributed to maybe not dealing with anger in the most healthy manner.
Yeah. So a lot of times we recognize symptoms of anger as being like actions, things, ways that we react to anger. But just like Crystal said, it can actually be like internally, like things going on inside of our bodies, like rapid heart rate. High blood pressure is something that goes really kind of undiagnosed, or with people who have anxiety or people who have anger. And maybe they just don't even really realize that emotion and that feeling, because we all kind of react to it in different ways. But then again, it is so important to really be able to kind of assess what it is and to what level, so that you can create that sense of wellness for yourself in all different aspects. So one way that you can kind of assess things that make you angry, because who knows, maybe you know them all, but maybe you're reading through a list of things and you're like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that, but it really kind of gets under my skin. So there are different ways to assess anger for yourself or for people around you. You can even Google, anger assessments, and like lists will pop up that kind of give you some ideas. One thing that Crystal and I are going to do with the group is just kind of go through like a what sets you off worksheet to kind of list examples. And we have these cool little paddles that we made that Crystal has that kind of shows like the devil, which I guess is the angry side, and then we have the angel side. So I can just kind of go through this and say, okay, Crystal, what about traffic jams and encounters with other drivers? See, for me, I would hold up like two devils.
Like this.
Yeah. But we live on different sides. So there's that. How about when people tell you what to do?
Definitely.
See, that makes her really mad. For me, like, I kind of like a little guidance. So how about losing a game or a contest?
Probably more like this.
And to other people, that's a really big deal. So different things like that. That's a fun thing to do with kids, or just a group of fun people who kind of like to explore their own emotions.
Yeah, and it does it in a way that's maybe like not as invasive. So it feels a little bit better to be able to recognize an angry feeling like this rather than having to tell somebody, I felt so mad about this, and, going really deep with someone who maybe you're not comfortable with sharing your emotions with.
Yeah.
So now that we kind of know different ways that we can assess anger and actually find out what are the things that make us angry and how does that feel in our bodies. What does that look like for us to be angry? We can also think about different ways to cope that are a little bit healthier. Some of the positive ways to cope with anger include simply walking away or even taking a quick break. So sometimes the best thing is really to avoid a situation, and that's okay. If you don't have control over your body and you're not feeling that way, then it's okay to just step away and try to avoid that situation until you feel like you're able to control yourself a little bit better. Walking away, taking a quick break, that's okay too. It kind of allows your body to calm down. Some of those somatic symptoms, those physical symptoms, can decrease in that amount of time. Also, exercise is a great way to deal with anger, and deep breathing and practices like yoga, meditation, mindfulness that all incorporate regular breathing and deep breathing. Those are very helpful as well. And it's something that you can do throughout the day and nobody really has to know. You can, sit at your desk at school. You can, be riding in the car, listening to your music, and just deeply inhale and deeply exhale for maybe 3 seconds. And that's really helpful to kind of calm you down. And another thing is writing about it or journaling. Being able to just put your words on a piece of paper or draw them, that helps to get the anger out so that it's not staying stuck in your body. And that moves us to one of the other activities which we had planned, which is this lovely large balloon and a nice small balloon. And what we found is that this balloon exercise is kind of a metaphor for what anger does in us. And we know that when we hold our anger in and we allow it to build up, we're kind of like this big balloon where we're really, really full. We might have a really thin layer of protection that's keeping us from popping. When we don't have a lot of anger built up, we're more like this small balloon. So what we did is we did have some of the kids, try to pop the balloons, and we did too. And we found that this big stretched out balloon, it did pop easier. So when you do allow anger to build up, there's a much higher risk that you're going to explode. And this is something that we all feel when we're not dealing with our emotions and we're just allowing them to grow and grow and grow. One thing can kind of just set us off, and all of those positive coping mechanisms kind of go out the window. So we just try to remember to deal with our anger in more effective ways so that we don't have to get big and ready to explode. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's so important to realize that, we can't really control our anger. We might be able to tweak a few things, but we can control and we have responsibility for how we react to it. So learning these different coping things and trying them out is a proactive way to kind of like set yourself up for success, because we all know, when I get angry, I'm not thinking rationally, and I do some things that I'm not proud of. So really being able to plan ahead, so to know what triggers you and then to know how to cope with it can really save you from, making a bad decision or something that you're just not proud of, that you wouldn't normally do if you weren't angry.
Yes, 100%. And just, trying to protect yourself from making the decisions that you may regret, and also just trying to practice the positive habits so that they do stay with you for life. And remember, we all have this emotion. We all feel angry at times, and it's okay to feel that way. And it's also okay if some of these coping styles don't work for you, and if they don't work right at first. The important thing is to continue practicing them so that they become like habits and they become part of who you are, so that you begin to respond with positive coping and positive ways of dealing with your anger, rather than maybe some of the old, more harmful ways.
Yeah. So we hope that, I'm sure you already knew what anger was, but maybe now you know the importance of assessing what makes you angry and what makes, the people that you live with angry, because I'm sure they would kind of like you to respect that too, but also ways to cope with it and ways to maybe explain it to someone else. So we really appreciate it and hope you learned a little something.
Thank you.